Well, despite contrasting weather conditions across the country, planting progress does remain above that 5-year average for both corn and soybeans. Our good friend Dennis Reyman with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers joins us now with the latest from his region. Dennis, always a pleasure. Let's talk about crop development. How is it looking in your area?
Hi, Suzanne. Well, yeah, crop development is coming along just fine. We're looking at west central, or west central, northwest, and north central Iowa primarily, along with southeast South Dakota, northeast Nebraska a little bit. I would say that we have a pretty good start, and not too much for challenges, I guess, in the way of replanting. A little bit of no-till soybeans that were considered for replanting, but I think with a little bit of moisture, they pop through and are going to be pretty acceptable. So we've got a good start. I wouldn't call it an excellent start. I tend to look at the 4th of June, the old saying, knee high by the 4th of July. I think a really good start will get you to knee high by the 4th of June. And I wouldn't bet a lot of money we're going to make that, but we might.
So no concerns really at this point. Everything, as you and I were talking, and as you might have caught in the headline there, we are dealing with a lot of flooding here in Middle Tennessee. Everything seems to be better than expected in your area?
Well, I'd say as good as we could probably hope for. We've always got concerns, you know that.
Yes.
But, central Iowa had some heavy rain. We were in Ames last week for a meeting, and there's some ponds down there as you get over along Interstate 35, and some of those will require some replanting. So there are issues around. But generally, in our part of western Iowa, we're pretty happy with where we're at right now.
That is good to hear. Let's talk land sales. When does selling season happen? Are you seeing any activity yet?
It's starting to come up on the calendar. June is kind of the official beginning, in my mind, when land season starts to pick up. And there are a number of sales on the calendar for later June. We haven't seen much in April or May, which is kind of normal. Some years you do see activity, but this year certainly not above average in the spring. But we'll start to get a gauge on things here about a month down the road.
Any other activities this time of year that you'd like to highlight?
Well, yeah, I did mention that we went to a meeting in Ames last week. That was actually the 97th Iowa State Land Valuation Conference. So that's coming up on a century of a gathering of real estate professionals, lenders, a couple hundred people from around the country, or around the state, I should say. And, it's cautiously optimistic. I guess we're always going through periods of stress. It seems like we occasionally have these blips of good times like we had in 21, 22. But, you always got to keep your eye open for opportunities and try to eke out those margins. And I think that's where everybody understands we're at.
Biggest concerns that you heard when you all gathered together? I know we talk a lot about these interest rates. What are you guys talking about? What was the big topic?
Well, and a number of us of my vintage, I guess, recall the interest rates of the 1980s, which were about double of what we have today, or worse. I recall sitting in a lender's office when I was a young guy, but old enough to borrow money, and he said, interest is 20%, but we're stopping at 19.5. Well, that's kind of an eye opener for a young guy, and we're nowhere near that, of course, and I don't think we'll see that. But yeah, certainly interest rates require an adjustment. It's a significant influence on the bottom line if you're out there borrowing money. So, as you know, there's a number of older farmers that probably aren't much affected by that at this stage of their career. But
Dennis, you just made a lot of young guys just pass out hearing that 19.5. So they all just went down.
Well, it truly happened.
That would be unimaginable for a lot of us. But thank you, Dennis, for being here. By the way, of course, National Beef Month here in May. You pointed out before we went to camera, National Beef Burger Day. I hope you get out to the grill today.
That's what I heard on RFD earlier this morning. So I'm taking your word for it, Suzanne.
Well, trust us, we got you. Dennis, thank you as always. What a pleasure to see you. You take care, and we look forward to talking with you next time. Dennis Reyman with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. Always a pleasure.